NBA totals for Tuesday, November 8th. We have 5 games on the board today that we are going to take a look at. Unfortunately, we're doing this video a little bit early, so the games we had yesterday, none of them are done. I wanted to get this done in an efficient amount of time. So we're going to go ahead and make our plays. The odds are already out there, so let's go ahead and start breaking some games down. Only one team we have on one game is playing tonight, and that's the New Orleans Pelicans. So there's already a number on that game for their game versus Sacramento. We're going to break that one down as well. But the rest of them are off rest, and let's go ahead. Let's start looking at some games here. All right. So the first one we got up is Atlanta and Cleveland, and I'm going to go under the total of 207.5 at Pinnacle Sports. Atlanta right now they're averaging 107.3 points per game, giving up 96.8. That 107 that ranks them 8th in the NBA. Then you got Cleveland. They rank first, averaging 112 points per game, giving up 103. Now attempts, there's really, despite the fact that Cleveland and Atlanta are both scoring, I mean, you just look at the number right there, 107 and 112. Seems like it sets up for a high-scoring affair, but both these teams have been pretty good defensively as far as percentages are concerned, and their attempts aren't that high. You got Cleveland, they're averaging 84.2 attempts. Excuse me, Atlanta averaging 84.2 attempts per game. You got Cleveland averaging 86.7. That's about the middle of the league. Not a lot. Cleveland's allowing a little bit more tempo, but the shooting percentages, on these teams, you got Cleveland, they're allowing 43.9% on the season, and Atlanta is even a little bit better, allowing 43.7%. Those are both right around that top 10 area. So I think defensively, they're both solid. This is going to be a really good matchup. I think Atlanta's actually getting a little bit too much here as far as the points are concerned. But as the spread goes, I like under the 207.5. I think this is a really good matchup. And, they might go crazy as far as shooting tonight, but I like the way these two match up. I think it's going to be a little bit more of a grind than odds makers have it. So I'm going to go under that 207.5. Again, I got that at Pinnacle Sports right now. Next one up, we got Denver and Memphis. I'm going to go over the 202.5. Right now, I have that at Bookmaker. You got Denver averaging 105.5 points per game. Came off a really high-scoring game versus Boston the other day. They're allowing 105.2 points per game. Memphis, they're averaging just 95.6 points per game and allowing 101.4 points per game. Now, the problem with Memphis is they've been really non-efficient at all. They rank last in the league in effective field goal percentage and efficiency. So why do I like the over tonight? Well, when we look at Denver, their tempo is really, really good. And I think Memphis, they don't really have a problem going with tempo. I thought they did a decent job with Portland, but they just couldn't hit some shots there in that final quarter. I thought that game was going to go over. I think that sets up the same tonight, but they're actually going to get there. Denver's averaging 87.2 attempts per game, giving up 89.8. That's one of the highest in the league. And Memphis is averaging just about 84 attempts per game. Not great. And they've been decent in, opponent attempts. They rank as one of the lower ones in the league. But again, when you look at Memphis, their last 3 at home, we had 172 versus New Orleans, 187 versus the Clippers, then 194 versus Portland. So they're consistently going up each game. But you break those down, different dynamics. And I think this matches up a little bit like that Portland game where, it ended up under this number here, 202.5. But I think the way the flow of this game is going to be. And both these teams, I like Memphis. I think they're going to be able to score tonight. Denver's not that great of a defensive team. They're not as good as I thought they were, as far as last week. I think they're giving up just a little bit too much on the season. Their defensive percentages aren't that great. So I expect Memphis to have a pretty good night tonight and for this to get over that 202.5. All right, next up, we got Phoenix and Portland. I'm going to go over the 217 at across the board sportsbook review. Check the odds there. This just sets up to be a track meet. We have two of the as far as defensive scoring goes, these teams give up a lot. You got Phoenix giving up 113 per game. That's just about last in the NBA. I think it is last. And Portland's giving up 109. They both could score. Phoenix about 106 points per game. Portland 108. Phoenix is number 2 in the league in points in the paint, and Portland is 5th in shooting efficiency. Plus, Portland gets to come back home tonight and put up some points. I think they're going to be able to do that. Attempts, they're up. I mean, Phoenix is off the chart. They're 90 and 90 as far as their attempts and how much they give up. Portland's more than happy to run. We've seen them do that in the past, and they're giving up about 90 attempts per game. So this sets up to be a real track meet tonight, and I think they're going to get well over 220, actually. This should be a really high-scoring affair if their shots drop. We need the shots. Shots have got to go in. I think the tempo will be there for sure. So I'm going to take over the 217, which should be a fast one with Phoenix and Portland. Next up, we got is New Orleans, Sacramento. Now, New Orleans is playing tonight. That game is still pending, but I'm going to go under the total of 203, and that's at Sportsbook Review again across the board. You got New Orleans; they're coming off that again back-to-back versus Golden State. They're averaging 100 points per game. Sacramento 98 points per game. So that kind of tells us where that number's at. But the issue for me is New Orleans is giving up 107.5 points per game. Sacramento is giving up 102.9 points per game. So that's telling me this should be over, but I don't think it's going to play out that way because Sacramento, they rank first in the league in attempts allowed. And I mentioned that before. They're a slow-paced team. We get that from Dave Yeager. And I think they're going to be able to hold New Orleans to a reasonable number. Also, they're not pushing tempo. So it just depends with New Orleans and, well, how New Orleans comes off the back-to-back. I don't think they're going to come out and score a ton against a Sacramento team that's really trying to focus on defense after coming off a back-to-back versus Golden State, which I'm imagining they're going to be going up and down the floor all night tonight, even though I have the under on that play, but that was 224. You got New Orleans there. I don't think they're going to be able to score. I mean, they rank 28th and 29th in effective field goal percentage and shooting efficiency. So if Sacramento does what they should, does their job and controls the tempo and gets out and defends against a poor New Orleans shooting team, this is going to be under the total. So I'm going to go under the 203. Again, that's across the board at Sportsbook Review. Last one up, we got Dallas and Los Angeles. This is one of my reverse plays, I got to say, because it seems like the way LA's been running, I mean, my goodness, they've been going over the total, but I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to back under the total of 205.5. I found that one at Heritage Sports. Again, check SBR for the best odds. We got Dallas. They're averaging 95.5 points per game. That ranks third to last in the NBA. They're giving up 101. Los Angeles is averaging 110 points per game. That's one of the highest in the NBA, and they're giving up 108. That's pretty high as well. But Los Angeles defends the three better than anybody. The really interesting contrast here with Walton's club. You got Los Angeles. They rank first in the NBA in opponent three-point shooting percentage at 28%, but they're last in the NBA in opponent two-point shooting percentage. So that's a really interesting dynamic that I want to pay attention to as I watch the Lakers this year. Dallas are getting up 86 attempts per game, giving up 80. So if they can help control the pace in this one, that ranks third in the NBA on their attempts allowed. You got Los Angeles, they're getting up 89 and 86 allowed. But at the end of the day, that 205.5, I think it's a bit much. Also, again, a little bit of a reverse play because Los Angeles is going at that really good tempo, and they've been playing much better than I anticipated. I knew they'd be a little bit better this year. Walton's done a really nice job with this club, but still, I just like for the way Los Angeles is defending the perimeter and the way Dallas can't score for this to stay under the total. So I'm going to go ahead and go under the 205.5. All right, let's break this all down one more time. We got Atlanta and Cleveland under 207.5 at Pinnacle Sports. Denver and Memphis over the 202.5. That one was at Bookmaker. We got Phoenix, and Portland over 217, which should be a track meet. That's across the board at SBR. New Orleans, Sacramento under the 203 at SBR. Real contrasted styles of those two teams. And then we got Dallas and the Los Angeles Lakers. I'm going to go under the 205.5 at Heritage Sports. A little bit of a reverse play, but I just don't see a lot of scoring from those two tonight, especially from Dallas. So we'll see how that all plays out. And again, a lot of my plays are pending today, so we'll have to see how we do. We came into yesterday with a winning record, but again, I don't know where we ended up, but I'll find out soon, and we'll hopefully be able to have more updates about that on the next video. So I hope you guys are enjoying the segment. Again, if you don't like the plays, go against them. If you like them, then go for it. And I wish you luck. But again, always check SBR, and I wish you luck on your picks today.
Research before you bet. Be sure to check out SBR Picks for the best game predictions, breakdowns, and much, much more.